Welcome in to Whatchu Spinnin, episode 8. I am Dorian. As per usual, I am joined by Jacob. How you doing, my friend?
We doing good. We doing good.
Hell yeah, you excited for today's episode?
Oh yeah, dude. Great picks. I'm ready to get into it.
Hell yeah. George, as per usual, joined by my dude George. How are you, my friend?
Doing good.
You feeling pretty jazzed about this week's picks?
Yes. All our picks are money. They're good. Solid.
Hell yeah. Well, with that being said, let's dive in. We're going to go with my pick first this week. And as you remember from last episode, I picked Frizzle Fry by Primus, their debut album from 1990.
Scratched myself a bit, pulled me out a bowl of corn chips. Closest thing I could find, apple pie. Lingering taste of toothpaste made the milk go down a bit funny, but you know, them chicks, they do satisfy.
And to help me kind of give their input and kind of help me, really show some appreciation for this album, we've got a good friend, a first-time guest, mine and Jacob's homie, and soon to be a frequent friend of the show. We've got our friend Matt.
Howdy.
Hey, what's good, Matt?
What's going down?
How are you doing, friend?
I'm doing well. I'm ready to talk about some Frizzle and some Fry. Lay it out.
Hell yes. I'm stoked for this. This is going to be really exciting. We're going to have some more guests on at some point. But as I mentioned earlier, Primus, Frizzle Fry, their debut album from 1990, Les Claypool, easily one of probably the best bassist of all time, in my opinion. I know Matt can attest.
Definitely.
Really just an insane project for a debut album. I've told these guys that I've done the math, and I have, out of almost 50 albums I have on vinyl, I have 13 debut albums, and this is one of my favorite out of those. Just everything from the lyricism on it, the drumming, the guitar work, the bass playing, like, it's all unreal. But Jacob, what did you think, man?
Yeah, I really like this, dude. This is a great album. I feel like it's very... All right, so here's the thing. I listen to rock. I used to listen to rock a lot more. Like, that's all I would listen to. All I'd listen to was like heavy metal, and I didn't get too much into like screamo, but I really did like rock. I like all types of rock. So listening to this, it kind of like took me back to that. Like, took me back to like those days where like I was just like headbanging to music all the time, and I'm like playing air guitar to the song, But this album, I really liked it. First off, I wanted to mention the album cover. It's like someone with like a frying pan and like a head on it. It looks like a monster's head. Like, it's pretty badass. It like put me off at first, because sometimes when I'm like looking at like covers, that's the first thing that you see in an album, and depending on what it is, it will turn you on to it, or it'll like completely be like, oh, like, I don't know what that is. I don't want to get into that. So I was like put off at first when I saw it. I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm getting into. I don't know if it's gonna be like insane and like just like someone screaming in my ear for like a full hour, or if it's just gonna be like something awesome, And boy, when I was listening to it first time around, it was something I hadn't heard of, but it sounded like something like I was familiar with, like something I had heard before. And man, it's like brought me back to like really like liking like rock and liking like this type of music, because it was great. I loved like almost like the full like the full album and like the first half of it, I feel like is like probably my favorite. Just all the tracks on there back to back, they're all bangers. But yeah, I'm gonna get into it, but I'll let someone else go because I know I got a lot to talk about this one. So, what what do you think?
Yeah, George. Jacob and I, Jacob, Matt, and I, we all work together. So, and we talked a little bit about it, and we're like, oh shit, like save. So I know Jacob has some more to say, but you've been kind of quiet in the chat about this album. What did you think about it?
I wanted to save it. So when you announced it last time and you said Primus, I was like, the name sounds familiar, but I don't know this. And then when I looked them up, I'm like, immediately I thought Jerry was a race car driver. And I'm like, dude, this was on Tony Hawk, fucking Pro Skater.
Yep.
And that was my fucking favorite song, dude. I would fucking love skating to that shit. Not in real life, but in the game. Dude, every time that song came on, I would fucking go ham. And so yeah, like I listened to the album and I can't like put like my finger on it, but like I feel like it brought up some like deep fucking like memory in the back of my head of like some odd rock stuff. And immediately I started thinking a lot of creative stuff for some weird reason. And like Jacob said, like the album cover, when I saw it, I definitely was like, this might be some screamo shit. But it wasn't. But when I was listening to this whole album, I'm like, dude, it has like elements of like hard rock, but also like punk shit. But I feel like it's kind of like all over the place, but it works. That's just my take. I mean, I'm sure you guys listen to rock more than I do. I've only listened to rock like just like the mainstream stuff that was on like, when I was a kid and stuff. But this album was really interesting, and I'm really excited to dive into like stuff that's more similar to Frizzle Fry, Too Many Puppies, especially Too Many Puppies, John the Fisherman, and the second half of Groundhog Day. Dude, like I like the beginning of Groundhog Day, but the second half just I always talk about me riding a bike because that's all I do. But when this song came on and the second half kicked in, I was mashing uphill so hard, dude. Yeah, dude. Oh my god, that shit was so fucking dope. I really like John the Fisherman, but I think my favorite is Too Many Puppies, dude. And I'm like really bad at deciphering like lyrics and like the meaning behind it in rock music because I feel like they're a little bit more cryptic with like what they're saying sometimes. And it was kind of like hard to understand like what, like why and what he was saying, like what was the meaning behind what he was saying. It's kind of hard to understand that, but I could tell like there's so much shit to this album, and yeah, it's just good. Like I really enjoyed it, just like Jacob. Like I'm kind of like dumbfounded a little bit. Like I didn't think that I would enjoy this album this much, but I fucking do. And I really wish, because I feel like this would have resonated with me a lot when I was a kid. I feel like I really would have loved hearing this as a kid. And I missed that. I missed that opportunity, unfortunately. Or maybe I did. I don't know. I got to talk to Jared about that. But yeah, this album's fucking dope, dude.
Hell yes. I'm so glad to hear that you both liked it so much. And one of the main thing that, made Matt and I become friends was the fact that we like very similar music, and we bonded over Tool, as we discussed in episode 4 with Enema, and Primus was like the second band that we bonded over. And so I know that Matt has a lot of experience with this album too, because it's an absolute classic. What do you have to say? Like, what do you appreciate? Like, what do you have to say about this album, Matt?
This is, like you said earlier, the debut album for Primus. Their first album was a live album. kind of like Jane's Addiction did back in the day. Their first album was a live album. Too Many Puppies seems to be the name of the game, and that was actually the first song Les Claypool ever wrote. A lot of people think it has to do with the Gulf War because he talks about oil fields and stuff like that. Who knows? Because it's a first game, so it could have been something completely different. But that's one of my favorite tracks on the album. I really like the way the album starts off. They kind of have a little Rush intro, band Rush with YYZ on To Defy the Laws of Tradition, that guitar or that little drum track in the beginnings from Rush, which is kind of cool. Kind of throwback there. And it's actually, you know, I'm sure he says this about a lot of albums, but it's one of his favorite albums, Les Claypool, that he wrote. It's like one of his favorite albums. So knowing that is pretty cool. I really like the guitar. I mean, Primus is really known for their bass. Anytime you hear a Primus song, it's that bass you're hearing and that drum. But their guitar player is amazing. Larry LaDon started with the kind of death metal scene and kind of came into his own with Primus. And he just plays those off notes. It's not normal chords. He's just playing those off notes. And you're like, it sounds off, but it works. And it flows with the bass and the drum. And they blend well together. And that album it's pretty great for a debut album if you think about it. For someone that's not into that kind of music, it's kind of hard to listen to at first, but I don't know, you just kind of wrap your head around it and go with it. I think it's a great debut. Most reviews of the album end up in a ramble about, you know, comparing it to different genres and different styles, which is true. I mean, if you think about it, music is kind of taking elements of everybody's genre and combining it. You know, you make your new genres with that, you make your old genres with that, you bring back, you know, ones that aren't around anymore, whether it's an 80s sound or something like that. But Primus has always been that bass heavy, you know, guitar driven. And when you listen to Tim Alexander, the drummer, and Les Claypool play together, it's just one of a kind. You don't hear that a lot anymore with the bass and drum going back and forth and just playing off each other. And Frizzle Fry is a good example of that. Honestly, John the Fisherman is probably my favorite song on that album because it's very catchy. It was one of the first radios they had. It's the first single off the album as well. And just a side note, I know Dorian will appreciate this, that Larry LaDon actually learned how to play guitar from Joe Satriani. So I'll end it on that.
And to piggyback off of that Joe Satriani sentiment, Joe Satriani is known for his solo work. In my opinion, there's there's Mount Rushmores of everything that you can think of, and the Mount Rushmore of guitarists, in my opinion, are Joe Satriani, Eddie Van Halen, Stevie Ray Vaughan, and Hendrix. Like that's my Mount Rushmore of guitarists. And Joe Satriani taught Larry Lalonde of Primus and Kirk Hammett of Metallica, and Les Claypool, the bassist and singer for Primus, went to fucking high school with Kirk Hammett of Metallica. And he has a cameo in the music video for John the Fisherman.
Dude.
Yeah. And even
it's almost like a small world.
Exactly.
Musically, like, holy shit. That's crazy.
And on top of that connection with Metallica, Les Claypool, this just makes me appreciate his bass playing, his talent even more, is in like 2003, Metallica was looking for a new bassist, and Les Claypool went and tried out kind of as like a fuck it kind of thing. And he played the guitar part for Master of Puppets on bass and destroyed it, and was just, you know, going insane. And they said, yeah, that was fun and all, but no, like, you're not joining Metallica. Like, you need to stay in Primus, because he just shredded this guitar part on the bass, and it was unreal. Like, I found one of my friends in high school had like a bootleg download of like the recording session because someone managed to record it, and it was spot on. Him just mastering that guitar part on a 5-string bass, and I was like, Jesus Christ, okay, like, he's the best.
That's what I thought was like so unique and so different, that like it's like that guy Les Claypool, the bassist, he's also the singer. Like, he's also the singer, and then like I was looking at videos of like this band play, and like this guy's got a whammy bar on a fucking bass. Like, what is that? Like, that's unheard of. like how like that's some like Guitar Hero stuff. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
how does he have a whammy bar on a bass? But I think that's like what's so cool about it that when I was listening to this album, that's what stood out the most, I feel like, was the bass and the drums. They're just like perfectly in sync, dude. Like they just like bounce back and forth and like you like feel them both like just going off of each other and it like sounds so good and then they'll have like that guitar that will just like go crazy in the background. I know my like I said, like the first half of this album, I absolutely love. Like I've had on repeat like this whole week. Like I've just been listening to the like just like the first like 5, 6 songs because I'm like, dude, it's fucking badass. Um, I really like how on Groundhog Day, like it's like at first it's like kind of mellowed and it's like calm, and it's like calm before the storm, and then like the second half is just fucking insane. They're going ham.
Yeah.
And Too Many Puppies, also love that song. You can't not like that song, and like the lyrics to it, like it's like catchy and it's like memorable. Like you can't forget it. Um, and then, well, Frizzle Fry, I liked Frizzle Fry a lot. How like in the ending, it's like chaotic, but at the same time, it's like controlled chaos. Like they're all going crazy. They're all banging the drums, slapping the bass like real crazy, but it sounds like they like know what they're doing, and they have to obviously. Um, but yeah, I think it's so unique how like the bassist is like he's like kind of viewed as like the main focus of this, which I don't really know too many bands that like do that and that did that. Like more modern, like we kind of see it like how we talked about on this show with Krongvin because it's like the bassist and the drummer.
I was about to mention that that like they had like the same like in sync like they were just linked together, like they were just like playing off each other and stuff like that. Definitely, yeah, I understand what you're saying. And then also like I think yeah, just the drummer like stood out to me a lot. I think I'm a very like beat orientated person, so like and rhythm. So like when I hear drums, like that's the first thing that like fucking hits me in the face. I'm like, oh shit. Who was the drummer? What's his name?
Tim Alexander.
Tim Alexander.
Yeah.
Man, he goes off. And like you said, Jacob, Groundhog Day. It reminds me of Black Submarines by the Black Keys because it starts off slow and then later it just goes off. But what I think is interesting is just like the guitar too. Like he plays slow and does like little like intricate like different sounds, and then coupled with the bassist and then also like the guitar or the drummer. It's just like so. This album to me is just so unique. I think this is like one of the more unique albums that I've listened to. And I only say that because like I'm not that much invested into rock. So hearing this album, that someone coming from someone who isn't like into rock that much and only listen to like Nirvana and like stuff like that. This album definitely like threw me for a loop. But listening to it, like this was good, man. I really enjoyed this, and I want to find more artists similar to Primus, or bands similar to Primus. And when I was listening to this, like there's some songs where, for some reason, like I could picture like them playing in the background of a movie, like not necessarily like the soundtrack, but like in a scene, like the song is playing in a background. For some weird reason, like I kept thinking about that. See, like in a dark scene or something, like they're playing in the background of this movie for like a little bit. I don't know why, but that's just something that I thought of. But yeah, Frizzle Fry, Too Many Puppies. I feel like Too Many Puppies is definitely my favorite one, to be honest. I kept listening to that so much. But yeah, this album is so fucking dope, dude. I want to thank you for introducing that.
Hey, no problem. That's what this whole show's about, man. Is introducing each other and maybe someone who stumbles upon it into different stuff, because we've got the Venn diagram of music to where I'm like, all right, well, this is in my, and that's the opportunity of the show, is like, even if I know like, oh, these guys don't listen to it that much, I can still throw something in, and I know you guys feel the same. So.
And Matt brought up a good point of like genre bending stuff, right? Me and you, Dorian, we were talking about that a while back, like how, each genre has like subgenres, and there's just like really like a mix of everything, which is super great. Like that's probably like the best thing that has happened in music, period. Just genre stuff. It just brings people together and different groups of people together based off of different genres of music, which is super dope.
Yeah,
I think that's probably like my final thoughts on Primus, unless you guys have to say. I'm sure you guys do.
Yeah. Matt, do you have anything else about Primus?
I think we summed it up all together. Great debut album, great musicians feeding off each other and creating their own genre in a sense. I mean, you listen to Primus, nobody else sounds like Primus. I mean, you could try to compare them, but it's just a one-of-a-kind sound. And it's, like you guys all said, it's kind of building upon genres and kind of finding the right fit from each one. They're a great band. It's not for everybody, but that Frizzle Fry album is one of my favorites. And just a couple good tracks on there that I'll always listen to, hands down. So, great album.
Hell yeah. Jacob, do you have anything else?
Yeah, I did have a couple. I did my research and I actually made notes this time. Because I was like, I have like a lot that I could talk about this.
Yeah, it's good if Jacob makes notes.
I'm starting to make notes, yeah. But it was cool. I liked how because it sounded familiar when I was listening to it. And looking back at it, like I played a lot of Guitar Hero when I was growing up. And it makes sense because this was on Guitar Hero. It was on Guitar Hero too, John the Fisherman.
Was it? Nice.
Oh shit.
And that's fucking badass because I was doing some more research and there was like a South Park episode. Dorian knows what I'm talking about. There was a South Park episode of like some guy, like he has the Guitar Hero guitar and he's like playing on it and he's like, oh, but can you play John the Fisherman on Expert? And he's like going like, I think it's cool how it does that. Like it's something I hadn't heard of, but the fact that it gets like recognition like that and it's like it can be on TV shows and it's like brought up by other people, I feel like that adds so much more to like the legacy of it and how like big of an album it was, because it's something that I hadn't heard of, but hearing it now I'm like, how had I not heard of this before? Because it's really good. It's really good.
I guess it definitely did like impact the culture as a whole, so much so that it's on fucking South Park. The most controversial like cartoon ever.
The intro song is done by Primus. The South Park intro song is done by Primus.
What?
Oh shit.
Yep. So it stands forever.
Wow, okay. Wow. All right. Definitely blew my mind right now.
Yeah, no, it's
like
dead ass. In like in the earlier,
okay.
in like the first 2 to 3 seasons, the guy that's sitting there playing the bass, the tall skinny dude, it's a caricature of Les Claypool, where it's like, going on down to South Park, and it's got like the dude playing the bass in the title sequence.
Oh my god, it makes
that tall dude with the sunglasses playing the bass. That's Les Claypool. They made a character out of him for the title sequence.
Dude.
Wow, holy shit, that's crazy.
I did
This
not.
album, wow.
Now that you say that, that's fucking badass.
Right?
I think that's why, Jacob, that's why me and you, like, for some reason, like, it was familiar, but, like, we didn't know why. Or at least I did it. But now that you said that, Matt, I'm like, wow, holy shit, it all makes sense now. I'm having, like, a full-blown, like, aha moment right now. I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah, no, but I feel like definitely. I was talking to Dorian about this earlier. I was like, dude, I definitely got to go pick this up because I was looking at this and I'm like, dude, like this is so good. Like I don't listen to rock as much as I did, but I feel like this is one that I would definitely listen to, like 100%.
Hell yeah. Well, with that being said, we kind of have unspokenly and unknowingly started a tradition in past episodes, so I'm just gonna full on do it now. Every album we talk about, we're gonna give our top 3 songs off of it. And I'll go ahead and start that off. My favorite song off of this album is Spaghetti Western. After that is Groundhog's Day. And third is The Toys Go Winding Down. That fucking that bass, that bass line in that song. It was hard to like actually rank them, but those are my top 3 off of this. Matt, what are your favorite 3 off the album?
I was surprised to hear Spaghetti Western. That's a great, instrumental song. That's got some good beats to it. I like that one too. But my top 3 would be start with John the Fisherman, and then second would be Defy the Laws of Tradition, and then end it with Too Many Puppies because that's just the one. That melody, you just can't stop singing it.
That's exactly what my picks were, Matt. Those 3 in that order. But if I had to swap one out, I feel like I'd swap out. I don't know. I like those 3 mainly, but for sure, John the Fisherman, To Defy, and then also Too Many Puppies and Frizzle Fry. I really like that, like the title track of the album. But those are like my top 3, top 4 picks. So.
I like Too Many Puppies, John the Fisherman. I like Groundhog's Day, but I also might pick over Groundhog's Day. I might pick what's it called, like Pudding Time?
Yep.
Yes.
I think I might pick Pudding Time over Groundhog Day. But
Right.
it's just the build up with Groundhog Day that is so. It's the build up.
You're right.
But I think I'm going with Pudding Time, to be honest. I like Pudding Time. That shit was fucking fire.
And another honorable mention for me was Hello Skinny / Constantinople, which is technically a cover.
Yeah.
That is a cover from They Might Be Giants, right?
I believe so. I think it is They Might Be Giants. But yeah, it just that just the switch, because it's a 2-part song and it's like super low and just like do 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 do, and then halfway through it there's this do 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 do, and the drum beat starts like kicking in, and then they just start going ape shit, and that's what closes the album. And it's like, wow, how, like, I remember the first time I listened to it and heard that, I was like, how is there not more? I was like, they ended it on that? That was intense as fuck.
Yeah. No, I fucking hate when movies fucking end it like that. And
right,
same thing with albums, dude. Jesus Christ.
I was like, shit, they could have, I was like, that, I feel like there could have been more. But anyway, that was Primus. Matt, thank you so much for joining us, man. We'll have you on another time.
Please do. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Take it easy, bro. I'll hit you up later.
Oh, man.
Later, guys.
But anyways, let's dive into Jacob's album for this week. Jacob, what did you have for us?
Yeah, so my pick this week, it is Westside Gunn, Pray for Paris. Pray for Paris. I'm thinking about the other song or the other album he executive produced. But yeah, Pray for Paris.
I'm from a back block on the east side, piece of wall. I will leave Roy with the Mac on, piece of love. The whole portfolio is gangster.
So Westside Gunn is a...
No fake flex in here, by the way. That's a hard flex that you have that. Just throw that out.
You think I'm fake you think I'm fake flexing. But no, he's a hip hop artist. He's a member and founding member of Griselda. It's like a hip hop collective composed of Westside Gunn, his brother Conway the Machine, and their cousin Benny the Butcher. They're actually related. If you did not know.
Wait. Pause. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're all related, dude.
Westside and Conway are brothers, and Conway or Benny the Butcher is their cousin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dorian's like mind blown right now.
Yeah. Yeah,
I feel
dude.
the bitch leaking out of my ears right now. It's melted. My brain just got fucking melted. Anyways,
he just
Yeah, they're all related, dude.
No, but
That's why they work well together, dude.
yeah, facts, dude. That's why they have like such a unique sound that it just works for them. This is like Westside Gunn, who knows how many, like 10th album, 11th album. He has like a mixtape series, but this is like one of his bigger albums that debuted in 2020. Yeah, it's got fantastic features on it. It's got Conway and Benny the Butcher. It's got Tyler the Creator in a Joey Badass song. It's got Billy Esco. It's got Joyce Wright.
500 ounces.
Yep, 500 ounces with Freddie Gibbs and Rock Marciano. It really is like a hip hop collective and an album that is just like, in my opinion, one of the better albums of 2020. Yeah. What did you guys think about it? I'll let y'all have a word in it.
Dorian?
oh shit. Okay, I thought you would jump in on it first. Anywho,
I do want to. I have a lot to say.
go right ahead, my friend. I'll save mine. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah, so this I already had been listening to so I listened to Griselda before I listened to Westside Gunn, and then because I was listening to Griselda, I think it's called like the Big LTD album or something like that. I used one of their songs for my Halloween video, or actually the song that they sampled. And that was in 2020, and then like literally when this album came out, it was of course in my Spotify discovery playlist, and it was 500 ounces because I also listened to Joey Badass, so it just fucking was there, and I listened to it, and I was like, fucking A, wow. And 500 ounces, who is it fucking produced by? It's Alchemist, yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, so I listened to Joey Badass, Alchemist, and fucking and I already had been listening to I've been listening to Benny and also Griselda, but I hadn't really been listening to Conway and Westside at that time. But yeah, when this album came out, I was just fucking like, what the fuck, dude? This is so good. I really feel like Westside Gunn, Conway, and Benny are really of the East Side, the East Coast grimy rap. Because honestly, like, it died down. Like, nobody's doing that. Literally, they're the resurgence of grimy hip hop. And it's just fucking, it works so good. You know, they got, and it's funny because like Tyler the Creator is like very like pop. He's experimental. But for some way, he like weasels his way into like fucking real ass shit, dude. Much like Earl Sweatshirt as well. And also Domo Gen. But yeah, like fucking a party with Pop Smoke. Tyler Creator fucking made the beat, and it just fucking works with the whole album. And so like we spun this record together. We already kind of talked about like the producing behind this fucking album. Derringer, DJ Muggs, a couple of new cats. Even DJ Premier was on this, which fucking it's amazing. And we talked about this thing where, so DJ Premier, to me, I feel like really set the trend for beats and piano coming together. And after that, like a lot of people, and that's
Absolutely.
DJ Premier's thing. It's been like his fucking thing the whole time.
It's his
up
niche.
until now.
It's his niche.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And then, you know, Al came in, Uncle Al, you know what I'm saying, came in and he made that his fucking forte, dude. Like that's his fucking shit. And then now all these other newer producers who want to like produce for like hardcore rappers, they're doing the same thing, and they're featured on this fucking album. They're featured, my bad, on this album. And dude, yeah, it's just fucking sick. I think my favorite song is Allah Set Me. So pissed that fucking got removed from Spotify.
Right.
Dude, fuck, pissed me the fuck off. But that's Derringer, and that's why I said Derringer is fucking such a good fucking producer, because it's so dark and it's so dude. Allah Set Me is fucking dope. But I think so like Westside Gunn, I kind of like, even though they're like lyrically and sonically like they're very different, but I like to compare Westside Gunn to Talib Kweli. And the reason why is because their whole thing is style. It's not about lyricism, it's about style. And Westside Gunn has fucking style. Like the way he raps, the way he talks, it's fucking style. And sometimes like that goes farther than lyricism. And you could really tell on this fucking album, like he just fucking goes off.
That's the whole thing with Westside Gunn, because like Westside Gunn,
that's the thing, right?
I mean, he said it in interviews. He said it already.
I ain't even got a rap.
Yeah, that he is a rapper, but he doesn't see himself as like the biggest rapper. He sees himself more as like a curator, like someone brings people together and like makes a project that is like perfect, basically. I feel like, because this album, I mean, first off, I feel like we should have talked about the album cover.
That's Renaissance art right there.
Yeah.
With Westside Gunn's like
a fucking
kindergarten
Jesus piece
picture.
on his neck.
Where he's got like the chains on, and he's got like, it's a Caravaggio painting, which Caravaggio was a huge painter. I forget when it was. There's like a specific year that his paintings were like super good, because they like depict like very like realistic like paintings of like modern era that's like grotesque, but also like very like historical and biblical. And this,
I mean, it's definitely like, that's definitely like Renaissance art. If you guys look it up, that's Renaissance art.
And the album
Absolutely.
cover is a painting of David and Goliath, you know. And it's interesting that he chose that as the album cover, because it like depicts of Westside Gunn being like from the underground, coming up to like Goliath, you know, and becoming like the David, like being the king of like the West, of like the underground. Because for the longest time he was the underground rapper, and this album kind of like signifies him going up in that level.
I mean, if you think about it, like who, like other than the Buffalo Bills, who the fuck like knows about Buffalo?
Yeah.
Like Buffalo, New York, like who the fuck? And then this group of people were like, dude, this is what it's like over here in Buffalo.
Yeah.
And they really like painted a picture of like how gritty it is and how cold it is too, because like it's fucking cold as fuck over there, and they reference that in a lot of fucking raps. And yeah, dude, I just feel like Pray for Paris is Westside Gunn is a fucking genius. Honestly, he's a marketing genius actually. Yeah, and like you said, he just sees himself as a curator. And he curated this fucking cool ass shit with his fucking family members. That blew the fuck up. And it's obviously made an impact in hip hop right now, because literally, I mean, fuck, you even got like, Tyler Creator is like cool and he's like pop, but also does like, like designer shit and stuff like that. But like you have even him like hopping on this fucking shit. That just goes to show how far and how much of a big impact this album and also Westside Gunn had on the whole hip hop community. It's absolutely like crazy, man.
What do you think, Dorian? Because I know you're like kind of here and there with like Westside Gunn. So what are your thoughts on the album?
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm necessarily here or there with him. It's as I mentioned you can check the receipts. They're on YouTube, man. The first episode I brought up Westside Gunn, and because it was, we were talking about Nas, and I said for some reason in my head I thought Nas would have like a deeper voice, because or just something like he would sound different than the way he actually sounds. That was my thing with Nas, because I got into hip hop late, and obviously that album came out before I was even born, so it's whatever.
94.
And I thought the same thing about Westside Gunn, just based off of his name. I was like, oh, this guy's gonna sound like fucking Killer Mike or something. And then I hear this, like, which actually ties into my first point about this album. Why is Westside Gunn's ad-lib the best one? Like, why is it the most hilarious thing in rap music? And it's not even like hilarious because it's goofy, but it just goes hard. And it's like, it's
funny and hard at the same time.
Exactly. It took me a little bit to get used to, and then I listened to this album one way through, and I literally listened to it again the same day, because I was like, this is unreal. I said, this actually is fucking insane. And every time that or the like either of his gun mouth noise ad libs, I was like, this is the funniest shit of all time.
He quite literally lives up to his name.
Exactly. It's like, hey, my name's Westside Gunn. You think I'm gonna sound like Killer Mike? Gotcha. But I make a bunch of gun noises with my mouth. I'll meet you in the middle. It's like, mother.
I'm surprised he hasn't made a lyric saying, I'm Westside Gunn, I'm a Mac 10, I'm a spit.
Right?
Dude,
but no, it's not that I was off and on with him. It was that he did that. He threw me off. It threw me off, because you guys talked about the Primus album, looking at the album cover, expecting, or being like, oh,
expecting something.
This is going to be insane, or this is going to be this or that. And so
never judge a book by its cover, dude. That's what I wanted to say earlier. Like, fuck.
Exactly.
You can't judge a book by its cover.
Exactly. And so. I do that with rap artists that I've never heard of, because I feel like people in general, I get this way sometimes. Like, you listen to a certain amount of rappers or a certain amount of bands, and then those certain genres or subgenres end up popping off and getting so many more artists that you're like, I don't give a fuck. Like, Tom Segura, comedian, has a great bit about he's like, my dad doesn't want to meet any more people because he's 70 years old. He's like, fuck him. I don't need any more friends. I've met everybody I need to meet. And I get that way about music sometimes, which I don't fucking know why, but I'm like, hey, I've got the shit I listen to. I'm good. It's all about comfort, and it's all about breaking out of those.
That's really what it is, comfort. Like, we're so used to, like, our own thing. But, like, I'm glad we're, like, talking about, you know, different genres and, like, bringing it to the table. Because, like, dude, we're branching out. Like, I never thought I would listen to something like Primus, the first album. And I fucking love it now, dude. I fucking love it now.
Exactly. But it's one of those things to where I was like, you know, when Jacob was like, oh, have you heard of Westside Gunn or Conway the Machine or Benny the Butcher? I was like, those names ring a bell because, like, I'm active on Reddit and shit or whatever. But I was like, I don't listen to them. And I was like, I don't need to fucking listen to them. I got my shit I listen to. And so that's why I basically started this, because Jacob is going to be pissed at me that I'm about to say this, but Jacob would ask me about, like, Jacob would be asking me about albums and, like, if I'd listened to them. And it still happens to this day.
Yeah.
And it was the whole reason I started this podcast. I was like, hey, if Jacob and me and George, you know, get together and, like, start talking about albums, like, I'll have to listen to them because I'll have to, you know, spend an hour and a half talking about them. And so it worked for me, at least. It was kind of a
worked for me too, dude. I'm right there with you.
But before we even started it, Tana Talk 4 by Benny dropped, and Jacob is still asking me every Monday, hey, did you listen to Tana Talk 4? And I'm like, nah, man, I haven't. And I still, hey, I'm going to tell you right fucking now, Jacob, I still haven't listened to Tana Talk 4. Because and I tell him every time, I say, because I do my homework, mijo. I be listening to the albums for the episode. I ain't listening to new drops. But I've got some shit. I have some new drops I have to listen to. Tana Talk 4, Future just dropped a new album. I got some shit I got to listen to. But anyway, to get back on track, Pray for Paris, unreal. On, like, the production behind it, it almost, like, I know Alchemist has production on it, but it sounds like everything could have been produced by Alchemist.
That's what I was saying. Fuck. It goes back to, like, the DJ Premier shit where it's like piano and fucking beats.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's, like, literally the theme of this whole fucking album, dude. And I was definitely surprised with Tyler, the Creator. He, like, literally pulled through. And I feel like Tyler, the Creator, is known for his lyricism, but honestly, his production is pretty fucking good. It's solid.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. His production is top notch, and it always has been. And that song's like one of the sleeping giants of the album, you know, like, because it's got some meaning to it, and that Tyler production is unreal. And
the pop smoke,
yeah, and like the title of it, all that shit.
And it's funny, like, this was like right before he fucking passed away, unfortunately.
Exactly. And
what I wanted to add is, like, I think that, like, the track listing and the way that it's, like, set out is almost, like, perfect, dude. Because the opening track is 400 million plus tax.
Yeah.
It's not really a song. It's just, like, a recording of, like...
It's a nice interlude.
It's an intro, and it's
400 million.
It's not even a song. Yeah. It's like someone that's, like not auditioning, fucking like they're selling, like, a painting, you know, like it's
auctioning.
It's an auction that they're auctioning off, like, a painting, and it kind of shows that, like,
ties back to the album cover art.
Yeah, that's how Westside Gunn views this. Like, he views this album as, like, an art piece, and it's, like, worth that 400 million, you know. And then it cuts right into No Vacancy, that DJ Muggs beat. Dude, so
DJ Muggs is fucking fire, dude. No Vacay is fucking good ass fucking song.
It's so silky smooth. It's fucking fantastic. And then it goes into my favorite song, George Bondo, which the Beat Butcher and Derringer fucking killed it, dude. Not only the beat, but the fact that all three of them are rapping, and they're, like, rapping about, like, their new up and coming, like, success and how, like, where they're at. I have lyrics pulled up from Conway, West's brother, and he's like,
I want to hear that.
He's like, getting dudes clapped while I'm with celebrities hanging. I got 2 felonies, now they tell me I'm famous. My life is he's like, my life is definitely changing. Rock Nation brunch. I'm with the R&B singer getting better acquainted. Like, they're like,
dude.
That last line was literally one of the lyrics I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
I'm with an R&B singer getting better acquainted.
And then he's like,
yeah.
he's like, I ain't another rapper that's alive that can match my pen. Back again, Mac, clap your men, stacked to half an M. I was him before you ever heard me on a track with M. Like, dude, the fact, like, Conway's like lyricism, he's probably the best out of like the 3 of them.
I used to think Benny was the best, but Conway is so fucking good with playing with words and using, like, he does use like good words, but it doesn't seem like he's reaching like for like, oh, I know good words. He's just using like shit that fucking works out.
Yeah.
Like, God, dude, Conway is he's a machine.
Yeah. He's like top tier lyricism, and like I think that's important. An important thing to know also. When a rap album has too many features, it's easy to get like out rapped easily.
Yeah.
And I feel like Westside Gunn gets out rapped on this album multiple times. But I feel like that's the point also. Like he does it for
like you said, he's just a curator. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
He's the glue in the whole shit. He's the glue.
Yeah. Like he's bringing them all together. And then we were talking about this last time that we were actually listening to it. 327 with Joey Badass and Tyler the Creator. I feel like it's an important song because it's one of his biggest songs, Westside Gunn. But it's also really important because Joey Badass and Tyler the Creator, they're in that weird range where they're like underground, but at the same time they're like mainstream.
Oh yeah,
they're both like incorporating and that I think I've shared it, but like where Westside Gunn is like fucking showing the pants that he's selling and stuff like that. Like Westside Gunn and Tyler the Creator are both into fashion, and they're fucking selling shit. So like both of them are both curators, Tyler and Westside Gunn, and I feel like that's why this probably happened where he was like on this album and produced a track and then is also on it. Yeah. I think they shared like the same space, even though, they were both respectively, they were both underground in different spaces and different sounds, but together collectively they work well together because they're in all reality, they're in the same space.
Yeah. And I feel like this album shows that. Because Westside Gunn for the longest was just underground, but the fact that he had a song with Joey and Tyler, he's like moving up to that level with them. Like he's in that like underground, but he's like still climbing up to mainstream.
And that's what fucking blew my mind, because I love Joey Badass so much, and I respect him as an underground rapper. I don't think he sold out, but he did do like more popular songs. But for him to go back and be on this fucking album with these hard ass motherfuckers from Buffalo, and for them to respect Joey, like, dude, that just blows my fucking mind, dude. 500 Ounces is such a fucking sick fucking song, dude. And then it being, of course, produced by Alchemist, is fucking dope. You know,
beat on that, dude. And then it's like the little like yeah, dude. This
that's probably like my final thoughts for Praise for Paris, to be honest.
Yeah, I think.
Do you guys have any more things to say about it?
I think my final thoughts are my favorite Westside Gunn album to date, and yeah, I think it really does show like the greatness that like underground hip hop can have if like you get the right producers, the right features on it, can make something that really is like a work of art, basically.
And yeah, honestly, we talked about $500 ounces a good amount, but honestly, we talked about Freddie Gibbs a couple episodes ago when we talked about Price of Tea, I think.
Mm-hmm.
We mentioned Freddie Gibbs just will have the ability, there will be a track established, and then he'll just come in and go 100 miles an hour. And sometimes he'll like allude to it, you know, like there will be something that says, oh, Freddie Gibbs is about to be on this track. And then other times there won't be. Price of Tea was an example of the latter, where it was just, oh, Freddie Gibbs is on this track, and he just goes, you know, just starts destroying it. $500 ounces, mic check, mic check, for like the whole first like 40 seconds of the song is so badass to me. It's like, all right, like when I was hearing that the first time when I was driving, I was like, all right, this is about to go hard. And it did. That Freddie feature on this
Freddie
album.
Gibbs just snaps on every fucking shit. He just goes off, dude.
God, dude, it's unreal on this. I was like, oh my God. And I'm surprised none of y'all mentioned Claiborne Kick, so I'll go ahead and do it, because if it ain't Boldy, it's that's all that needs almost all that needs to be said.
That's another Alchemist track. He produced that one. Of course, he did it with Boldy.
Exactly. I heard it while I wasn't able to check my phone, and I heard it, and I was like, oh, this was Alk, obviously. Like,
yeah,
it's Boldy. If it is Boldy and Alk, that'd be even better. And it was, and I was like, all right, bet, cool. Yeah, but overall, my final thoughts for the album and general vibe, general takeaway. I'm gonna listen to Westside Gunn and Benny and Conway more, because this was incredible. This was top notch, honestly. Like shit. And my 3 favorite songs off of it, I'll start that rotation. 327, number 1. $500 ounces was number 2, and then George Bondo, number 3. Jacob, what were your top 3?
George Bondo. I want to say no vape. Shoot. George Bondo.
That's a really good one, though.
George Bondo, 327. And I'm going to go A Lost Sent Me, just because they're all 3 like bouncing back and forth, just trading shot for shot. So it's not on streaming, it's on YouTube. Go check it out. But this whole album did give it a listen. It's a fucking banger.
And George?
For me, A Lost Sent Me is my favorite fucking song. And then $500 ounces. And I want to pick George Bondo, because my name is George. But honestly, I want to pick fucking No Vacay, produced by DJ Mugg. I think those are my 3 favorite songs, but I'm going to be honest. This is my final thoughts, my bad. Fuck No Vacay, French Toast, my other favorite one. And like back to what you were saying, Dorian, where, you know, Westside Gunn is like funny. This is such a funny This is such a funny fucking song to me, because Westside Gunn is just singing on it.
Yeah.
I'm crushing on you.
Yeah.
He's so bad at singing, but he does it anyway. He's like, he doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a fuck. And then Joy Rice. Wow, she's such a good singer.
Yeah.
But I think, French Toast. So A Lot Sent Me, $500 ounces, and French Toast are my 3 picks for this.
Hell yeah. What's the interlude track that you hate, Jacob? The boom, boom, boom.
Oh, Hail Mary.
George Bondo would be a It's already is a good song, but it'd be perfect if that ending wasn't on it.
Oh, it's the ending of that. That is it. I love it.
It's like
Honestly, it's just
Hail Mary.
Yeah.
It's just them gooning out. I love it. Just
Wow.
wow.
Bow,
You know that's Westside doing that voice because it's high pitched and just weird. But
All right.
But anyway, those are our final thoughts for Pray for Paris by Westside Gunn. We'll dive into the next one. All right. Next, we've got George's album. What do you got for us this week?
Dots and Loops by Stereolab. I don't even know how late this how many albums they've had, but this is later on. This came out in '97, and it's a French group, but they have it's genre bending. So they took influences from Germany called krautrock. I'm probably butchering that. But that's kind of their influence.
You got it.
Yeah, so that's kind of their influence, and this album was very experimental, as well as all their albums. And I feel till now, and from the beginning, their first album, what's it called? Forgot what it's called, but it came out in the '70s, and they've maintained the same theme, which is kind of synthy, but also rock, but also pop. So it's very genre bending. In this album for sure, when I first heard the first song I heard from this album was called Miss Modular. It was back when I was smoking a lot of weed, and it came on, and it was around springtime, and I just laid in the grass and was listening to it, and I'm why does this sound so familiar? And I messaged my brother Jerry. I'm do you Stereolab? He's yeah, I used to have an album from them. I'm oh shit. And I thought about it.
So the reason why I know Stereolab is because Jared, my older brother, used to play this album called Cobra and Phases Group Play Voltage in the Milky Night. It's a long fucking album title. But yeah, he used to play that, and I always used to be hey, can you play that Brown album with the orange streaks? It's the same way I fucking describe albums right now. I'm hey, have you seen that Green album with the I still do that now. But yeah, so then he also played, so that album Cobra and Phases came out in '99, and then Stereolab Dots and Loops came out in '97. And I think Jared probably played it because at a certain time, yeah, when I was smoking weed and shit, on the Discovery playlist in Spotify, I keep mentioning it, but what's it called? Miss Modular was on there, and as soon as it came on, I was oh my god, I know this. And yeah, dude, this whole fucking album, Dots and Loops, it's probably more of the out there stuff that I listen to. It being that Leticia, there's multiple ways to pronounce it. I'm probably butchering it, but Leticia and Tim founded this group in the early '60s. And they just flow so good together. Leticia does like the synth stuff and also sings at the same time. And Tim is a songwriter and he plays guitar as well. And dude, this album is just like so special to me. I cannot describe like why or what, but this album is very special to me. Like I love this album so much. And I know like a lot of people are like, yo, this is fucking weird. I have a friend, like I used to play like a couple of songs, and I have a friend that said, this sounds like elevator music. Which it kind of does sometimes.
Hey, just want to mention real quick, that actually brings up a good thing. Jacob and I were working, and he was playing music, and he was playing this album. And like I've mentioned on other episodes, like I've played Jazz Abroad, I've played some songs off of El Camino, Buena Vista plays at the Branch all the time. Like we've played a lot of albums, and I said, why does George just pick banking music for the podcast?
It's elevator music, dude.
I was like, he's picked like Nas and Rock Marcy, but other than that, this motherfucker picks banking music.
Yeah.
but that's not a bad thing. Like I love stuff that you can put on in the background that if someone's actually listening to it, they'll catch on to something. You know what I mean? But I was like, why is all of this like appropriate for work? Like, you know,
it's like appropriate for work, but if you actually dive into it, like it's very interesting for sure. This album for me, like, it just brings me back to my childhood, and it just fucking, you know, I listen to it, it feels good. Like I think positive things and stuff like that, and this whole album is so experimental and so interesting. The fact that Leticia is like singing in English and also French at the same time, like fuck, I don't even understand French the whole time, but like hearing her sing in French is so beautiful, dude. Like I fucking love it. And then she's singing over these melodic like beats and like synths and stuff like that she even did herself. It's just so fucking beautiful. I just fucking love this album so much. And yeah, like I said, like to some of my friends, it's like elevator music and stuff like that. But I'm glad you guys were able to like appreciate this album, like because I feel like I'm weird for listening to it, but it's just I love this album like a lot, dude.
Dude, I heard this album like a couple years ago. Funny enough, George, it was that same song, Miss Modular.
Miss Modular, yeah.
Dude, I love that song. I heard this like a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And just that song for the longest is the only song that I had saved of Stereolab. And then I had seen, because I've known about Stereolab, like I'd see it at stores. I mentioned it to you like a couple weeks ago. I was like, hey, they have a CD of Stereolab.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I'm glad you fucking told me that. I was like, oh shit, you know Stereolab and you're telling me about it.
And I was like, when you brought this up, I was like, all right, I only have one song of this and I really like it. But let's listen to the whole album. And the whole album is really good, dude. It's like some of it is in English, other parts it's like in French.
French, yeah.
I like it, like doesn't matter because I feel like I still like make a connection to it that I can like understand. Because that's like the beauty about music. Like it can be any language, it could be anything, but if you like feel the rhythm and you like feel the rhyme, like you can.
I think it goes back to like when I reached a social club when you, Dorian, were like, I don't know what the fuck they're saying, but I feel it and I like it. It's like the same way how we all feel about this album. It's like, I don't know what they're saying, but I fucking love it and I feel it.
Yeah, it was just like that. It's exactly like that. And then, her voice is really, it's very good. I feel like she fits perfectly for like the sound of Stereolab. Like at some points it'll be like real like smooth and like real silky and like syrupy that she's like saying these songs. and she's like singing along to them. But yeah, I really liked it. I liked a song that I ended up liking a lot more and going back to was Refractions in the Plastic Pulse.
Yes.
And it's like it's almost 18 minutes.
Yeah, I was about to say that motherfucker's a damn near 20-minute song.
Yeah, it's almost like 5.
Literally an EP on its own.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But just real quick, I'm just gonna say this one part because I literally have a note of it here. The 12-minute mark of Refractions.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, the beat on that. It's like I was listening to it today as I was like, because I did my annual every day we do the pod. I end up, giving everything a brief. I give them the one last run through and I write my notes. And I was writing that and I was like, am I still listening to the same song like 3 times during it? I was like, oh, these guys were trying to out-Tool, with making 18-minute songs.
For real.
I was like, they're doing the Tool thing. And then I did it again and I was like, and it was at that 12-minute mark where the beat changes and it's like super low. And I'm like, this is almost a fucking EDM track, Like this is almost mid-tempo EDM.
It was EDM before EDM was EDM.
Exactly. I was like, holy shit, that change up was gnarly. But anyway, Jacob, you go on your point.
That's exactly where I was going. Like it sounds like it's like 4 or 5 different songs within the one song. Like it just switches, like it's constantly switching, it's constantly going up and down. But it's like so good. Like I could if I could like just listen to that song on this whole album, I would, because I feel like I'm listening to 6 different songs. Like I get like the best of all of it basically.
And it
makes sense. Like you really think about their name, Stereolab.
Yeah.
Well, an experiment, dude.
Yeah. And it's, if you were to pick movies have trailers, and they pick the highlights of something.
Yeah.
If you were to pick the trailer for this album, it would just be like snippets from that song, that one song, because it encapsulates everything else on the album perfectly. It's fantastic, the work that they do. I loved this album personally.
Dude, I fucking love this so much. Like I said, like they have gotten shit from krautrock, that genre. And I'll share it in the chat, but I found this band called it's a German band from the 1970s. It's called NEU, New. I
think it's pronounced Noi, actually.
Noi?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, and it's just like fucking Stereolab and I mean, fuck, like we talked about Mr. Oizo. He's fucking French. Like there's such a weird fucking, like really weird part of fucking France that just fucking had a gold mine of different type of music, dude. And it's fucking crazy. But what I want to mention about Stereolab is that like a lot of hip hop artists sampled them. Slum Village did. Jay Dilla did. Tyler the Creator did. Dude, a lot of people sample, like hip hop artists sample Stereolab, and that blows my fucking mind. I'll share the songs of it, but it's just fucking crazy to know that fucking, and I think also Jay Dilla did as well. To know that these prominent hip hop artists that I love sample Stereolab, this French group from the fucking 70s, is insane. It's like, what the fuck? But Stereolab, yeah, definitely just fucking holds such a big place in my fucking heart. This is like probably like one of the most, I said it before, it's probably like one of the most like out there shit that I listen to. But I absolutely love Stereolab. I love them so much. This is so different. But yeah, my 3 favorite songs are Berkridge, Miss Modular, and what's it called? Like Mars Prisoners or something like that.
Prisoner of Mars.
Prisoner of Mars, yeah.
Jake, what are your 3 favorites?
My 3 picks are Miss Modular, Diagonals,
Yes.
and then I really like Rainbow Conversation.
Yeah.
Those 3 are probably my picks. And then, honorable mention to the 18-minute song. I feel like there's like 5 songs out of that one song.
Right. My 3 songs were number 1, Diagonals, number 2, Rainbow Conversation, and I actually really liked Parsec.
Parsec is dope.
Yeah. Parsec is fucking tight. But, anywho, shall we unleash next week's albums?
Yes.
All right. So I'll go first since I went first for this week's episodes. What's that?
I was gonna pick a different album, but I'll do this album. So go.
No. Go pick a different album. Pick your different album.
Give me like 30 seconds.
So now that we've talked about all the fantastic picks that the 3 of us chose for this week, we're gonna go ahead and announce the picks for next episode. That being said, it's me up first, and I'm going Toxicity by System of a Down.
Yes, dude.
Shout out Jacob for giving me this for my birthday. Fantastic gift. Also a fantastic album. We'll get into it next week. That being said, Jacob, what do you got for us next week?
So I'm gonna cover something we've kind of talked about, but not fully like this. So
Yes.
Jones and the Indications.
I fucking love that. Hell yeah.
And it's their self-titled album, their first album. It's like soul funk, so we're gonna get into it.
I just started listening to more Dorian Jones this week, so I am so stoked to listen to that. I think I've heard a song or 2 off of it, and I love it already, so I'm stoked. George, what do you got for us, bro?
The Infamous by Mobb Deep.
Oh, shit.
Fuck yeah.
I love that album a lot, dude. It's like right there next to fucking Illmatic. Like it's up
For
there.
real.
Yeah.
The Infamous. Oh my god. Okay. All right. We've got 2 banger. Actually, technically, we've got 3 banger episodes lined up. We had this week with Frizzle Fry and Dots and Loops and Pray for Paris. Next week we've got some bangers, and then the week after that, y'all, it's gonna be Alk Day, baby. We're gonna be talking about some. We're gonna be in person, all 3 of us. We're gonna be talking about some great shit. Gonna,
For that.
I'm so stoked.
We will fucking be talking about some real shit.
Yeah, and it'll be a little more organic. So, might be a longer pod. It'll be great.
I mean, today is probably like our longest pod so far. Honestly, I think it's probably.
Honestly, it'll probably, to be quite frank, probably getting chopped down to 10 hour 25, which is only 10 minutes longer than our longest, or 2 minutes longer than our longest one.
Well, Alk Day is definitely going to be our longest pod, folks.
That's going to be the Whatchu Spinnin event of the year. All right. All right. Well, anyways, this has been Whatchu Spinnin episode 8. I am Dorian. Joining me as always, we've got Jake and George. Special guest this episode was our homie Matt. Hope y'all have a great day, great week. We will catch you next time. Thank you for watching.
Peace. Love you guys.
Love you out.